Again. Okay. Hi guys, welcome back. We're doing Love Island UK season 13, episode 3. So let's get into it. First, you open up with everybody waking up and stretching out of bed. And what I noticed right away was Aiden and Ellie. They were like waking up from like a little spooning cuddle. Same thing with Lola and Sean. So they're also, bonding, getting closer. Then they talk about the kisses that they had. They asked Robin if she enjoyed her kiss with George, and then they mentioned like the kiss between Aiden and Ellie on the terrace, and it's like, yay, the terrace has been christened. I thought that was cute. So, but also I noticed that Jasmine and Robin were both sleeping in long sleeves. And I literally was saying that. I was like, you know what? I would sleep in long sleeves too, especially if I was like being cautious and taking my time with the whole skin to skin bonding that happens. And also if I was like upset with somebody, then I would definitely like barriers. And so that's I think why Jasmine did that, and also why Robin did that, because they're just kind of letting the boys know like, no. I totally respect that. So let's see their decisions. They wake up in the bed, George and Yasmin, and they're kind of talking about like, okay, how are you feeling about tonight? We're gonna have to make this decision. Yasmin was anxious. She didn't sleep all night. So, or she said she had a hard time sleeping. And George is like, you just got to play the game. He's like really, he sounds more heartless, when he's talking about it, because I think he's really like had a plan and he's sticking to it. Whereas her, she keeps going back and forth with like, what's the right decision, I think she's being more altruistic about it, or she's trying to be. She ends up not being, but in the end, I think she does the person that she dumped a favor. Just gonna say that, and I'll come back to that. But yeah, so they seem all pretty happy this morning for the most part. Like Ellie and Aiden are very smiley, but he's anyway. So Yaz and George, they come into the bedroom and they're like socializing with everybody. Yaz, I feel like she's sitting next to Robin and she's having some anxious energy, and she's like, oh my god, I just have a lot of energy, and she's like playing it off like that. And it's really just like her anxiety that's been eating her up. Like if people knew, like, Lola, clock this, something the foot. And George was sitting next to Ellie, who's sitting with Aiden. I thought that was interesting because if he knows that Yasmin is going to pick possibly her, why is he sitting next to her? I think he kind of likes Ellie, even though he doesn't go for blondes. I think he kind of likes her, or he like feels for her. Or, after the girls get out of bed, he talks to Aiden and he's like, hey, you should be making your moves with Yasmin. You need to go ahead and do that. And Aiden's like, okay, maybe I will. So yeah, there's that. But she was like, I don't know, the other people were like, whoa, that's a lot of energy for this early in the morning. That's not quite where we're at, but it's just because I think she had those extra nerves. So yeah. Oh, it was funny too, the way George was sitting next to Ellie. It's like when he heard Yasmin saying all that stuff, he was kind of just sitting there quietly and drinking his water. It's like he knows she's lying, like, because they're like, did you sleep good? And she's like, yeah, I slept really good. And no, she didn't. She really didn't. And so he knows that, so he's just not going to say anything, which is kind of funny. But and then there was like this little cute scene in the bathroom where Sean throws a towel onto Robin as she's walking in, and she kind of like acts like a zombie. And I was like, do you see how fun you could be? Just saying, missed opportunity. Don't mean to be rhyming all the time. But yeah, George is talking to Mika in the kitchen, and she mentions that she's happy with Samraj, and they talk about like the language things again, and it's just like George just keeps screaming his insecurities so freaking loud, just so loud. And yeah, there's like a little girl's mini brief about the night, and Angelista was asking Jazz like where her head's at, and Jazz is still with like Lorenzo and Samraj. Lola thinks Lorenzo is only into Jazz, but Jazz disagrees. She's like, no, I can tell he's into Yaz. Like, come on, he licked her toes. something's there. And Mika agrees. She's like, yeah, I've seen a little bit of that. So I think Lola's just caught up in her own thing, so she's not necessarily paying attention to everything else, but she's trying to be, in the girls' convo, so that's fine. And then Lola did kiss Fitzy, which is Sean, in bed, and Angelista was like, oh, you kissed, was telling everybody. They're asking her, how's it going with Ope? And she's like, it's good conversations. Like, I like how it's going. So Mika already, like, she still loves how sweet Samraj is. But she's mentioning that she's also catching a vibe with George. So those are two completely different people, in my opinion. I do think they both have charm. I just think one has more depth. So that's something Mika's going to have to figure out, like, which one she prefers. Fortunately, I can't say that yet. All right. Dang it. No spoilers until the end. Anyway, and then the boys kind of debrief about the night. Aiden asks Ope about Angelista, and he's like, you know what? She's a slow burner, but you just got to let her take her time, and she gets comfy around you. Like, he's not insecure or threatened at all. He is not deep in it. He's like, she can explore the connections, and so can I, but it's also not disrespectful. It's just more mature. I feel like his whole approach about it is so much more mature. And then Samraj is wanting to kiss Mika because they did cuddle a little bit. I think he knows she wants him to take the initiative. He hasn't really jumped on it yet, and I'm not sure why that is, because he is much more flirty with Jasmine. Like, they literally are like, they're hitting it off. So yeah, if he does not make his move with Mika, then yeah, she's gonna be looking elsewhere just to see that, reassurance, physical reassurance, stuff like that. It needs to be balanced. But yeah, Opie was saying that he's gonna wait. He will talk to Yasmin again, but he's gonna wait until all the other boys get their chats in, and he's gonna, sweep on in on the end. Now, it's something that Aiden was kind of laughing about. He's like, oh yeah, you're gonna let the boys cook. But I think that triggers something in Aiden, because I feel like he knows he could miss his opportunity with Yasmin if Ope really gets his foot in the door. So I think that is exactly why he ends up pulling her not once, but twice. He really is trying to get ahead of the game. So we see Yaz pull Ellie to the fire pit, and she's asking her, like, so what are you thinking? And Ellie's just vibing, She knows Yaz is getting to know Aiden, and Yaz is like, yeah, no, it's still early. And so there was a lot of anxious energy, like, mostly from Yasmin. She's like talking over Ellie a lot. Ellie's like, I'm cool, I'm chill, I'm cool. But I don't think Yasmin is able to be like a very good listener, active listener, because she's got so much going on in her head. Like, she's really trying to be a girl's girl, but it's coming off a little, like I said, forced and stressy. So yeah, but Ellie's just trying to stay chill and calm, and then you have Robin, who joins them, and she's trying to get a feel for like how everybody's feeling, and Robin's really excited about George, and Yasmin's like, that's what you want. You want to be like, eek, like eeking, squeaking, like so excited. And I'm like, yeah, that's one aspect of it. But they also talk about how the boys really aren't pulling them for chats, and that's a drag. I will say that's a big red flag, how these boys just think it's all going to come to them. And it's like, if you don't show your interest now, forever hold your peace, because you don't know what's going to happen in the villa. Clearly, they have no idea what's coming. So you can see that George is really jealous. Oh, no, I already said that. Yeah, I said that. Okay. So anyway, we have our little, okay, Lorenzo. He decides to do like a little breakfast date with Jasmine. And okay, I have to give him some points because he is going against his preferences. He said he really, like in the first episode, he had said something, he hates eating on dates because it's like, now you got prom breath and I got to kiss you with prom breath. And I'm like, he has a point, but eating on your first date is quite common. So I think you just have to be a little bit more smart about what you're picking to eat on that date. Like, nothing with onions. Maybe sushi? I don't know. I'm trying to think of something that's like neutral, but can go either way with food, honestly. You just have to have some mince standby, I would say. Maybe those little to-go Tupperchies, something like that. But yeah, he admits he doesn't like to eat on the first date, and he does put some effort, and he makes Jasmine some avocado toast, avo toast, and he's having, I think, maybe like a yogurt bowl or something. What drives it home for me is that Jasmine immediately jumps into, why she was aggy because of the game yesterday or the day before, that, he didn't lick her toes, he licked someone else's, and she's actually into that. And to make it up to her, he's gonna have to lick all five of her toes. I can see Lorenzo's face, and I can tell he's just like, let me not gag at breakfast, because I'm already overcoming a hurdle with the breakfast date. And now we're talking about like the thing that literally had me almost throwing up. He's just like, yeah, no, we're not going to be doing that today. Like, no, yeah, no. I feel like he's just trying to keep the peace, but he's really not coming out of his shell with Jasmine. And she, ironically, is like, oh, my eyes are starting to turn into little heart eyes a little bit, because I feel like he's trying to make an effort. And it's like, okay, but what's the point? I just don't understand the point of these two. Like, make it make sense. I mean, like, yeah, there's a physical attraction, but I'm with Jasmine. Like, she's like, is that all there is? When she's talking to Samraj, she's like, is that all there is, though? I'm like, ding, ding, ding. Hello. Anyway, it was cracking me up, like how uncomfortable Lorenzo was. He's like trying to keep us cool. That was really funny. But okay. Then I have this note right here. Aiden is so shady. He's close with Ellie. Yeah, so he was talking to her and he's like, yeah, there's a lot going on. Like, are we good? Are you happy? Instead of talking about where he's at, he's just, he needs to be so much more upfront with her, and he's still not, and it's really irritating me. So she's kind of like being chill about it, but I would say she probably needs to grill him a little more than that. Then we have the daybeds. Yaz is pulled right after that. Aiden pulls her, and he's downplaying, his coziness with Ellie because she brings it up. So he downplays it to both girls because he's like, I don't know, he's just in this people pleasing, and he's also just playing them both. So he's downplaying it to both. What do we call that? Ladies all at once? Game player. That's what I'm seeing. He doesn't have a lot of eye contact with her, which he mentions, and she's like, is it because you're going to get into trouble? So they immediately kind of get into that flirty vibe. Now they're both from Kent, and that's something where they're like relating on. They have like the same similar personalities, but I'm also like, is that really the bar we're setting? I thought y'all went to Love Island to get away from the local peeps, because that usually hasn't been working. Again, she knows this hasn't worked. So he says her eyes are like autumn because they're green, and she melts over that. And I'm like, I wouldn't say autumn for green, but okay. Like, I don't know. He's like, that was off the dome. Like, wow. Like, I just came up with something original. Even I'm shocked. I swear. Okay. I swear. So anyway, and you have George, who compliments Robin. They're sitting and having a chat, and he comes across more as like his like fantasy. He saw her in like this kind of cowboy outfit, and he's like, yeah, you just needed like the boots and the hat. And then I'd be like, swoon. And she's like giggling, and their legs are all wrapped around each other, and there's like, yeah, a lot of chemistry. But again, for me, that's a red flag when that's like all he's leaning on, and that's really what he's leaning on with her. Heavy, he's leaning on that. So she needs to open her mind and expand the standards for compatibility. That's my thing. I said that last time. So then we have Ope, and he's asking Angelista, because I think he picked up on the fact that was a lot going on this morning. He's just very good at reading the room. Love him. And he's used to being around a lot of people and still being able to make individuals feel special. That is a freaking gift. That is such a precious gift. Honestly, I love Ope. I really wish, like, I wish the best for him and Angelista, even if they're not together. I want them to both find like the real thing, because they deserve it. Especially him, because he's really putting himself out there. I really want Yasmin to pick him, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I think the vampire has his hooks in her, like I said. But yeah, Angelista was like, yeah, no, I'm not a morning person. I need to like defrost. I need to thaw out. And I'm with her. Like, I need to sleep in later than usual, than most people. And I also need to go at my own pace. Like I do. I've had so many jobs a lot of jobs even where I had to wake up like 4 a.m. and get it together. And I'm a freaking zombie. Like, I will do it and I will do the best job. But man, I'm not happy. Like, I'll still say I'm happy, but I'm not inside of dying. So I love how honest she is and that he clocks it. He like really understands that about her. He's just very like diplomatic, you know, like she says that she's only into him, but also like don't get too comfortable with that because she's not wrapped around his finger. And, you know, she's like, I can fuck all, you know, if that's, and he's like, no, don't do that. But I just think she's a queen for that one, you know, because she noticed how cozy he can be with Yasmin. So she's like, I'm nobody's fool. And I'm like, again, their maturity. They're both so mature. Like, damn, that could work. It could work. I'm just saying. So, because Opie was saying something to her, like he feels like he rushes into relationships, or he has in the past. And I feel like that's kind of a red flag for me, because he's saying the truth without fully saying it. That, yeah, he knows that she's a slow burn too, but he's also realizing that he's a slow burn with her. And I think he's kind of comparing how quickly him and Yasmin hit it off in like this really bubbly way, and that she has made it known she's like interested in more than just friendship. You know, I think that has really like attracted him to her. He's like, oh, wait a second, she sees my value beyond the friend, and I'm excited about that. So she brings out a different side to him, and I really like that energy too. So yeah. But he says that Angelista is the priority, and in her little talking head, she was just like, you know, she was like, I think that's good, or something like that. And she kind of has this pause, and so it's like she appreciates him saying that, but she also is not still feeling the most confident in it, because she can tell he has a thing with Yasmin too. I need somebody else to come in for Angelista so that Opie can see like, oh, hold up, wait, don't forget about me. You know, I want him to put in a little more graft and effort with her, but he's doing great. Honestly, he's really doing great. I think it's her that's having some hesitation in opening up. So we will see. I think maybe she just has some trust issues too that she's trying to navigate, and you know, more power to her. I can understand why. It's like not hard to see why you would have some trust issues, especially this early on, day 2 or day 3. Good Lord. I think we're finally in day 3. Let's keep up. Okay. So then you see Robin pull Sam. They go to the fire pit, and basically she just wants to get them on the same page and have it like out in the open, like. And he says it too. He's like, I feel like it's more friendly. And she's like, thank you for saying that. So it's like immediate friend zone. Cool. Smashed. Squashed. We're Gucci. We still don't see Sam pull anybody else for chats. He is kind of like in the cruise lane. And I don't know if you know, on the highway, you have the cruise lane, and then you have the passing lane, and then you have the like hyperspeed lane. I feel like if you're cruising, you're going to piss people off because they're really trying to get somewhere. So for Sam, he's probably just going to piss himself off because it doesn't look like he really has a go-to or like a plan of action. He's not really pursuing anything or anyone, and that's why I think he should have been chosen to be dumped, not for any other reason, but just his actions. You know, he's a little more shy in this environment, and I don't know how long he's going to last with that kind of approach. It's just, you got to be a little more assertive, not aggressive, but assertive. So, because yeah, this game is crazy. So I love what Robin said after her little convo with Sam, though. She was just like, it's all good in the hood or something. Like, I can't do her Scouse accent. It's so good. But it was so funny how she's like, it's all good in the hood. I was like, girl, you're everything. I freaking love you. So then you see Aiden and Yaz talking again. He pulls her again. They go for a chat, and they're in like that little shaded, cozy couch corner. And I'm just like, bro, he's just moving really fast. And this is why I think he does this. So he tells her right away, like, hey, I gotta let you know, if there's a recoupling and I'm choosing, I'm picking you. And I think he's doing this to like block her from any other connection, because he sees that she has a connection with like Ope. And he doesn't want that. He wants her. He's territorial. He's like vampiric. He's like claws in. Like, he's more controlling, and that's based off his insecurities. But he's like more jealous and like more dominating as far as like territorial. And she's trying to read that still. And she's like, wait, why would you say that? Like, wow, that's a whole lot. That's a big statement. She's clocking it. She is. And he's like, no, I just want you to know, like, you know, where I'm at. And she's like, well, have you talked to Ellie? And he's like, oh, that's what I'm saying. And it's like, bro, you're not saying shit. You're not saying enough. How dare you? How dare you? Like, oh, Ellie, no wonder Ellie gets pissed. Like, I swear to God, not on her turf. No. So, anyway, I am just like eye rolling at Aiden. I'm like, you're such a game player. I just can't with you. So, after that little chat, Ellie is like, I need a girls chat. And she's talking to Angelista and Robin. And she's like not mad that people are pursuing options. She's mad that she knows he's not being upfront. Like, he keeps downplaying it, and she freaking knows. She's like, I've had fuck all today. Like, nothing. He hasn't done anything to catch me up, to reassure me. Nada. That's why I'm calling him the avoidant. He avoids the confrontation even though he is creating it. So, doesn't take accountability, is being an avoidant, is not being upfront and honest. Like, that's not adult behavior. That's avoidant behavior. So, I think Ellie deserves so much freaking better. So much better. And the fact that she was falling for it, and now Yaz is falling for it, and like he's just repeating the same formula because he knows it works. He's just pushy. Anyway, so yeah, his actions don't align with his words. I said that before. Ellie was like, I'm easy to talk to, you know, but she's picking up on the deception, and it's bugging her. You know, she can sense that. So then we have Yaz. Okay, so Yaz and Ope, like Ope comes and steals her from Aiden, which I love, and even Aiden was just like, oh man, dude, I was like gonna tell her the goss, and I'm like, shut the fuck up, like, shut up. Again, he is so territorial. He doesn't want anyone else talking to her, and it's like she translates that as loyalty. It's not. It's possessiveness, and that's why I'm linking him to like an energetic vampire. He's possessive. Not that he's earned it, it's just because he says so. Girl, you need to be more possessive over yourself. Like, come on. But she immediately lights up again with Ope, and she like links arms with him and is so giddy. And she even tells him, she's like, I'm so happy when I'm around you. Like, I just feel light and free, and you know, we like have good banter, and I don't know. It's just like, she even said last night when she was like trying to go to sleep, she was having difficulty. She says the truth. She was thinking about their conversation and how like it relaxed her and it kept her like, you know, chill. And she found comfort. Like she's ignoring her own experiences because the confusing energy that Aiden gives, you know, like he really exploits the newness. And again, I think they're just tactics that he uses. I know, because I've been there, and he triggers me. He just does. So, anyway, we see Mika and George. They go for a little chat at the fire pit. He asks her again, do you like Samraj? And she's like, yeah, I like him. It's between you and him. Like, honestly, I like him. No complaints. And she says she likes George because he's got, like, this aura about him. She doesn't really define that aura. And this charm. I think he's just mirroring her. She needs to wake up to that. That's why she's confused. That's it. Samraj is not the same way. Samraj has his own freaking personality. Yes, he's Mr. International. He knows who he is. He's bringing something to the table. Samraj decides to swoop in and take Mika away from George. And I really like that because they kind of say, they're like, yeah, a little bit of jealousy is good, which I agree. I agree, because if somebody doesn't care at all, then it's like, wow, you don't care at all. But not jealous in a toxic way, jealous in just like a, oh, hey, you know, we got something good going on. Like there's something special and I care about that. And I care if I'm losing that. You know, you got to care. That's basically where that little bit of jealousy is coming from. Like you care, not the toxic level. Let's be clear. Got to be clear about that. So Samraj just emphasizes that, you know, what they have is like natural connection and it's easy and it flows. And I just have to agree. Like they don't have that spicy chemistry yet, but I think that's trying to develop. It's trying. It's just not the first arena that they've tapped into. I think it's there though. I really do. I hope they give each other a chance. If they get a chance. Anyway, so then you see Lola and she goes and she sits by Sean, who's at the like day beds, and he's like, I love him. He's so freaking direct. He's like, you smell minty. Did you brush your teeth? Do you have bad breath? And she's like, no. I just want to take you upstairs. And for me, I thought it was like the bedroom. She wants to take him up to the terrace. Like that's like basically the kissing, you know, treehouse or whatever. It's the kissing area. So that's what she wants. And so they go up there and he loves like how forward she's being. He really like digs that because I don't know. I think he's with his teaching career, maybe he's like very authoritative and he has to like dictate and control and guide and all of that. And sometimes he probably just likes to chill a little bit and lean back. But I'm sensing the other side of that is that he doesn't necessarily want to pursue her in that way, which is a big red flag. Like Lola is giddy and happy about him. I'm not getting quite the same vibes from him toward her. I think he chose her because he thought on paper she was the better one. But I'm telling you, him and Robin, they need to be around each other more because they have that energy. They just, it's natural. It's more natural with them. So yeah, they have a good snog. And then we see Samraj pulls Jazz to the fire pit. And Mika is talking to George, but she notices that. And she kind of makes the smallest little look at that, like, okay. It's like, but at the same time, that's what's happening with her and George. So she can't be too bothered. I would say that Samraj and Jasmine have more of like a possibly sustaining chemistry connection. Like there's more to it. They have more in common than just that. Whereas dealing with George, he's more like that's the only angle he's bringing. You know, he's not really diverse in his like character, in his interests, in just like his conversation. Whereas Samraj is like so well-rounded. He can like ping pong all over the court and just like talk about anything. He can hold his own. And so I think slowly but surely Mika is starting to pick up on that difference and like, okay, yeah, I have this little thing with George, but also every time I look around, like I turn around, he's kissing Robin, and sure enough, he does that right after this. He pulls George. It's like gets bored with Mika a little bit because he's doing what he thinks he's supposed to do and like be interested in somebody who's got like that bubbly, welcoming personality that he could bring to his mom. But then he's fighting that internal subconscious desire of just like physical stuff. Like he's really more wired that way, I feel like. And so he's like he's having this like internal battle, I think, on what he thinks he's supposed to do versus what he wants to do. So yeah, he's kind of using the two girls for either one of those needs. Samraj, when he's talking to Jazz, he mentions that she kind of like gives him this look like a little Bratz doll, and he just knows like, and she gets a little shy and bashful because like they're definitely having that chemistry where they could rip each other's clothes off, but I don't know. It's really cute. And so you can tell she gets a little nervous. And she goes in for like a homie handshake. And he's like, what are you doing with that? Like, what did he call it? I totally forgot what he calls it. Mandem. I had to look this up. This is British slang, but it's basically like the cholo thing where it's just like, hey, yo, what's up, homie? And like they're talking about all this chemistry, but then she goes in for that, like, what's up, homie? So she was playing it cool until that. But that's also a sign that she's like nervy around him in a good way, so it's okay. But he's like, what are you doing? I liked that, honestly, really. I thought that was awesome. They have a good vibe too. It kills me because I love him and Mika. I also love him and her. So I'm like, where's your twin, bruh? Like, we need another one of you, man. Like, oh, the world could do more with you guys. Like, seriously, we could repopulate the world with very interesting, good-looking people. So, yeah, George pulls Robin to the terrace, and he immediately asks, like, is she stressed about when he was talking to Mika? And she's like a chill mountain. She's like, I'm good, but who do you like best? And he was like, ah, and then he goes in for a kiss. If I didn't know any better, I'd be like, oh, that was cute. But it's like, no, I think he's just froggy. I think he's just frisky. And he knows that Robin's kind of the same way at this point. That's not the only dimension to her, unlike him. But yeah, he like seems to take advantage of that. And I'm like, okay, like I need her to wake up. Wake up, Robin, wake up. I want her to be with somebody like truly sweet. We'll see. Yeah, he's hyper physical with her. I think yeah, she needs to watch that. So then, okay, we come to like the evening party, and I love how Ope is like hyping up the girls. He's like, took their picture, but he's not doing this in like a thirsty way. He's doing it in like, I could be one of the girls and I'm not threatened. You know, my masculinity isn't threatened. Like, I can be a friend. I can be your hype man. He's just so well balanced. I freaking love him. Like, big hearts to Ope. Seriously, my fave. Him and Samraj. I really, really dig them. Okay, so yeah, he's very comfortable in the show in general. Like, he doesn't care that there's cameras all over. Like, that's his job. Like, there's always cameras. Like, he's like, oh, okay, just another day. So it's really nice to have that. Like, he grounds everybody. He really does ground everybody. The best. He's the best addition, honestly. He's very well socialized. You know, like when you socialize a puppy when they're young and then they're like, everybody's a friend. He's kind of got that really healthy outlook. You know, he's not afraid to put himself out there, and it's okay if not everybody likes it. He's still gonna be genuine and authentic, which I love. So there's a terrace debrief between Yaz and George, and they're talking again about like who they're gonna pick, and they seem pretty sure on it. Then there's a text. Robin gets the text. So here we go. Yaz literally starts shaking. She starts crying because she knows what they're about to do, and it's gonna fluff up everything. And George is like, it's fine. We're gonna do this together. Like, it's fine. He's really trying to keep her calm, and I think he is better at compartmentalizing this. Like, I also think like he didn't really come at it from a fair, altruistic type of way anyway from the beginning. He was just like, who's my competition? All right, you, and you. Like, I think he's threatened by Samraj, Ope, and... Is there somebody else? I don't think so. I thought there was somebody else that he might have been threatened by. Maybe I'll figure it out. I'll remember. Okay, so... it's obvious why they choose who they choose. So they get up in front of the fire pit. Well, first, like, I feel like they're really trying to explain why they made their decision, and it's obvious though. It's just about competition. So, oh my gosh, I skipped some notes. Pause. Okay, sorry, I jumped. So the conversation that they're having on the terrace about who they're going to pick to dump, it's like for Yasmin, it's between Jasmine and Ellie. For George, he says it's between Sam and Samraj. So yeah, it's just like, that's who they're choosing. But Okay, so before they actually get the text, there's a little conversation where Ellie pulls Aiden, and this is where I'm really catching on to him being an avoidant, because as they're entering that little cozy, sheltered corner couch, he's like, oh man, I feel like I've been here all day today. And he's like irritated because he's being triggered by his own freaking behavior. And Ellie's not letting him get away with it. She's like, yeah, what? Like, yeah, you've been here all day, but wasn't fucking with me, was it? How about that? Like, she really does, like, return him to the scene of the crime. And it's just like, uh-huh, what do you gotta say? Like, let's go. So he's just like, you can tell, yeah. I'm just like, get him, because he's all wide-eyed and like shifty and just like not saying much, not saying anything really with his mouth, but all of it is, I think he has an opportunity to tell her that he would choose, that he told her he would choose her over her. Like, he would choose Yaz over her, and nope, if he would have told her, then she would have had a heads up and she would have known, like, oh, guess what's coming, because what's coming is not great. And then you have Yaz. Oh yeah, I was talking about, she knows that Ope is a balanced person, yet she's attracted to the toxic traits of Aiden. Talked about that. So Lorenzo, okay, here we go. Lorenzo and Jasmine are having a little conversation before, the big one. And he's talking about his love language is basically like taking the piss out of him and negging, which is opposite of words of affirmation. So again, this plays into, I think he's like lacking that access to his emotions, and it really does make him seem just more surface level, so I think he could work on that. But so Jasmine brings up something like she did a TikTok about like, what are your biggest icks about yourself? And she mentioned like, she gets very like Mariah Carey with her hands basically when she's upset. And so I'm like, same, I feel you, girl. But that's like her own personal ick about herself. His personal ick about himself is again surface level, and he's like, my socks. My ballet socks. And she's like, oh yeah, that's a big ick. But I'm like, honestly, we're talking about emotional, and he can't get there. So yeah, they just keep missing the mark with each other. And then Samraj and Mika are talking about love languages too. I guess they might be an earshot of each other, because that's funny that they were talking about the same thing. But he likes physical touch, which is kind of a red flag because he hasn't really been too physical with Mika. And then he also likes gift giving, like little things, which is also what Lolo said. He likes acts of service and words of affirmation. Mika also likes the gifts and the acts of service, words of affirmation. Like, again, I've heard that if you are comfortable with all of the love languages, that makes you more balanced. You shouldn't be like really picking. It's just kind of what we tend to do because we're not usually all completely healed and completely well-rounded. Like, we have preferences based on different different experiences and personalities and stuff. So yeah, then they get the text and basically, George gets up there and says what happened with Maya and that their decision changed a lot. Yaz says it was a mutual decision. And so they pick their biggest competition. So they dump Ellie, who is pissed. Like, she is pissed because this girl was trying to be her friend the whole time. And she dumps her ass. Like, they were shocked when they heard the text. They were just like, are you freaking kidding me? And like half of them are giggling nervously and the other half are like, what the hell? Like, they feel betrayed. They're like, are you joking? How dare you? Like, it was definitely an appropriate response. And then they picked Samraj, and Samraj is just like crushed, but he kind of could see it coming. And yeah, they're all crying basically. Mika's hugging Samraj, and I'm just like, I was crying. I was literally crying, and I was pissed. They got me. They really got me all caught up in my feels, especially because I'm PMSing. It's not fair. You're taking advantage. I don't appreciate. I was really in my feels about that. And then, they're in the dressing room, Samraj and Ellie alone, and they're talking about just how fake everyone is for that. Like, not everyone, but the two bombshells. And I got to wrap this up. I'm running out of time. Okay. And, yeah, Samraj thought it was going to be Sam. Ellie knew it was going to be her because she's the biggest competition. So they pull off, they like load up their suitcases into the car and they start driving away. And all of a sudden you hear bing, and the text goes off. And Ellie's reading out the text like, it's not over. You know, there's still a second chance. And then you see the car like start reversing a little bit. And I'm just like, is the driver also surprised? Like, where are they going? Usually they like go off to like a sleepover and meet somebody new. Why is he reversing? I don't know what the driver's doing. Nobody knew this was coming. So basically, that's how it ends. It's crazy. I'm into it. Like, I was not happy at first because I was like, fucking dare you. And then I'm like, okay. Ellie needed to get away from Aiden. You did her a favor, baby. Thanks, Yaz. Good luck with that karma. And then Samraj, like, hey, he can charm the pants off anyone. So let's see what he gets up to now. I'm excited. Okay, all right. I'm wrapping this up. Okay, episode 3, season 13, Love Island UK. We did it. Okay, time to watch episode 4.